Good morning, Bhargav. It's the 3rd of November. Here's the heads up brief for today. Paul couldn't join us. He's at the ACES conference in Bangkok. So, in Indonesia, Bhargav, thousands of people gathered in Jayapura in Papua for Philip Karma's funeral. He was a very prominent pro-Papuan independence activist. And tensions are high because there are perceptions that Jakarta was involved in the killing, especially given the history of Indonesia in Papua. In Myanmar, the Arakan army has apparently killed 30 members of the military in the last week. Now, clashes in Rakhine State have been escalating, and it seems like the Arakan army is getting more involved in the conflict, and they are amongst some of the most well-equipped and strongest EAOs due to the fighting and experience that they've had over the last few years. In Thailand, heavy rainfall is expected in the southern provinces for the coming days, so authorities have issued warnings. In Australia, in the Solomon Islands, the Royal Solomon Islands Police Force received vehicles and weapons from Australia to support fighting crime. And this is interesting because Solomon Islands has recently been turning more towards China. So there's a whole geopolitical China versus the West thing going on in the Pacific, and the Solomon Islands is one of the hotspots for this. Moving over to South Asia, Bhargav. In Pakistan, Imran Khan and his supporters are nearing Islamabad. The march had kind of sputtered after a journalist died, but the political tensions are still high, and PLM, the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, looks like it's trapped in a corner. How do you see the situation at the moment, Bhargav?
The way I see it, it's really convoluted because there are three or four corners here. The first corner is obviously Imran Khan apparently is making the ruling establishment with two corners being occupied by the PMLN, that is Pakistan Muslim League, and the military. And they seem to be in cahoots against the common enemy, that is Imran Khan. The fourth element, obviously, the inalienable part of Pakistan, that is the Islamic Front, led by the JUIF and the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan and the rest. Now, the fourth corner, the Islamist corner, is keeping quiet for the moment, but there is a likelihood that they will back Imran Khan if it comes to street level fight or street level protests across the country. Now, it is very interesting to see how the protests evolved despite all the setbacks which have happened in the last couple of weeks. And most analysts, both in and outside Pakistan, have taken anti-military stance and pro Imran Khan, given the traction he's getting at on the street level. Now, it is a tragedy, certainly, that the journalist lost her life. Hopefully, that won't really make things worse for Imran Khan. Not that we support him, but there seems to be considerable popular traction, if you agree with me there.
Yeah, I mean, Imran Khan and his party, the Pakistan Tehreek and stuff, are definitely very popular. All the recent polls, the by-polls and by-elections, PTI has come up on top, and the establishment parties have have been at the bottom. So there is popular support for Imran Khan at this point, definitely. All right, thanks for that, Bhargav. It was interesting. Also in South Asia, in Bangladesh, election-related violence occurred in parts of the country. There were local polls, and the general elections are to be held by next year. And Bhargav, how do you see the security environment in Bangladesh going? Because there's been a lot of violence and clashes, even though the opposition has not been able to get any support at polls.
So the security establishment in Bangladesh are it's led by the paramilitary forces, such as RAB Battalion, Rapid Action Battalion. Now, they need to get a hold on the security situation, otherwise it's going to get much worse towards the general elections. And a common factor across most elections in Bangladesh, local or general, has been the political violence at the grassroots level, and that has erupted in conjunction with the religious violence. And both the ruling ruling class as well as the opposition have used the religious violence in their favor, allegedly. Now, this is something which the companies, especially multinational companies working at the grassroots level, need to observe very closely. If things get worse, they need to take relevant action so that their presence is secured over a period of time. But Uday, it is going to be very, very critical election for the ruling Awami League party. Uh, if if it is true that Sheikh Hasina is stepping down and not contesting this election, have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, there's been rumors here and there, but definitely I agree with you. It's a volatile time in Bangladesh, and especially considering the religious violence that you mentioned, that's another big aspect because religious polarization and communal clashes have been increasing, and this is creating a more insecure environment where the risks are higher. All right, thanks, Bhargav. So lastly, in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, it's mostly strikes and protests against the cost of living crisis. Now, this is especially in Western Europe, so it's more of the same. And with winter coming, it's going to worsen over the next few months. So that's a heads up brief for today. Any last words or comments, Bhargav?
So there about Europe, I would say things are going to get worse if the strikes do continue. They're already facing some of the steepest economic challenges coming out of the conflict in Ukraine, as well as other issues domestically, such as the right-wing politics. So the governments need to get a grip over the situation and ensure that there is security both on ground as well as energy security. Otherwise, they're headed towards another major economic meltdown like we saw during the pandemic and before that in 2007, 2008 global crisis.
Yeah, good points, Bhargav. Definitely something to watch out for. Anyway, that's the heads up brief for today. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow then.